So once again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's session. Today, we are going to do a deep dive into research data management. And there's so much to share around research data management and the various services and tools that we have from Elsevier. So what we would do in our session, we will follow the slides. We will, understand the different solutions that we have. We will also look into the pain points, the challenges that researchers face. And after we are done with that, what we are going to do is we will be taking you live on the platform. So give you an experience of how it is when you go live on the platform and use the different functionalities and the tools. But prior to doing that, we will give you a background. We will also share screenshots, and we'll share with you some nice use cases around research data management. So firstly, the very important part of, let me just hide this panel. Okay. I always struggle finding this. So hi. Okay, great. So whenever we talk about research data management, I think the key question that haunts us is that what comprises of research data? What are we talking about when we are publishing a paper, when we are doing our work? What entails research data? Now, after, you can always post your questions on Q&A box, and we will be taking the Q&As after this session. So when we talk about research data, it could be a raw data right during the time when you're doing your research. It could be the process data. So basically all forms of research data, which includes everything. And these data are something that needs to be reproduced and reused tomorrow. If somebody wants to reevaluate the research, somebody wants to reproduce the results that your research has produced, every contact point of the data is important. Next would be what are protocols, methods, and workflows. These are also part of the data. Machine and environment settings. So when you're doing your experiments, the whole ecosystem around your research is your collection of data. It could be scripts, it could be analysis, it could be algorithms. So everything that goes into making your research successful, making you to achieve the outcome of your research, includes within the bucket of research data. So I hope this explains that how wide we are talking about when we talk about research data management. Now, once we have done the research, you have all the research data. What are the challenges? What are the challenges that universities are facing? One of the key challenges is that majority of these data, which is the public data, it is deposited outside of institutional data repositories. We have a lot of researchers here in our audience, and you would probably understand that each one of you have access to different data repositories where you are actually depositing your research data, and which could be outside of your institutional environment. Now, the administrators of these research data, which usually sits within the library, the biggest challenge they have is tracking these data which are outside of the institutional data. And this is a very time-consuming process. Why do the institution want to manage the research data? Because they are overseeing the management of institutional policies. They help to safeguard the compliance with funder mandates. Every research that you do, it needs to comply with various different funder mandates and various different policies. So same way, the research data that you're accumulating, that also need to follow fair practice. The institution needs to maintain an overview of where the data is deposited. If all different researchers belonging or coming from various different departments, they use different repositories to host their data, or probably you are only storing your data in a physical format, in a tangible format, in notebooks, in some kind of, in your own floppy disk, or in your own computer, or your own accessible tools. It is impossible for an institution to actually gather these data from all these different sources. And institutions need to have access and a structured format of managing this data so that they can showcase the research data output to the outside world. Now, what are some of the facts around the research data hosting, or how are these managed, and what are the challenges that libraries face? So 90% of the public research data is hosted on external general subject or domain repositories. So they are not categorized. So when you are using, when the way you do your research, everybody does research in a certain specific subject field or within their expert fields. When you are gathering your data, when you are storing your data, when you're managing your data, you always are not able to index this data in a very structured way. You're not able to categorize it in the specific field that your data belongs to. And that is 90% of the cases. 10% of public research data is hosted on institutional repositories. So you can see that the amount of data which is hosted on individual institutes' repository is very, very less compared to what is hosted outside of an institutional repository, which makes it more difficult and cumbersome for any library to have access to that data and manage it properly. Now we have a nice statement from Dr. Andrew White, who is the director of library information sciences at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. He says that there's a broad spectrum of research data management practices which is used by our researchers, and often due to a multitude of data types and a range of discipline-specific practices, we see the library's role as one that is focused to tracking archival practices of raw research data sets, assigning appropriate ontologies or metadata, providing appropriate linking and checking that the data has been stored in a secured location. Now, this whole, it's a manual time consuming process. If you do not have access to a tool or to a platform which will enable you with functionalities to automatically manage all your research data of the university, it's a very time consuming process for if you employ people to do it. And one of our development partners, they had to allocate 2 full-time employees to spend 6 months annually searching for data sets for a random selection of 886 articles published by researchers in their institution between 2015 and 2017. So we can imagine the work and the investment of resources which goes into managing data. And if it is not done in a very structured format, or if you do not have access to a tool or a platform which enables you to host these data in an appropriate manner. Now, why is the whole world talking about data management? Why there are so much of focus across publishing, across universities, across institutions, across government mandates in terms of hosting, managing, and accessing data in a very structured format? That's because when in the research community, there is a crisis of reproducibility of research. So when there was a survey done for 1,500 plus researchers, it was found that 52% had a significant crisis of reproducing their own research results. 7% didn't know, 3% did not feel that there was a crisis, and 38% said that there is a slight crisis. Now, when in terms of crisis, when we try to allocate this crisis across different subject discipline, most scientists have experienced failure to reproduce result. It is in the field of chemistry, and then biology, then physics and engineering, medicine, earth and environment, and others. Within the field, the darker red tells you that someone else outside of your own team was trying to reproduce the result and was unable to do it. And the lighter red color lets you know that how many of the scientists were not able to reproduce the result for their own experiments. So the key takeaway here is you need to reuse your own data, and to able to reuse your own data, you need to have access to the right data in the right format, associated and linked with the right metadata of your research, so that tomorrow when you want to reproduce it, you will have the access to that information. Now, researchers have access to thousands of repositories, and that is probably the reason why when researchers publish their research, they are using various different platforms to host their data. When it comes to our solution, which is Digital Commons Data Repository, it provides you with visibility of the entire research data output for your institution. It integrates with 20 plus million research data records, and these millions of research data records are coming from 1,700 plus generalist and domain specific repositories. So you can see the name of all the research repositories as well as the number of data sets. So we are able to link with the global ecosystem of data repositories, and we are also able to create an interoperability with our own Elsevier solutions like SciVal, ScienceDirect, Scopus, to help you provide a holistic platform to manage and access data and use it in the most suitable manner, which is complying with all the funder mandates. Towards this, let's look at one of the examples. When there are open sources which are available, how is our solution better than those open sources? So when we take an example of University of Barcelona, 73 results were found for their data sources using open data source DataCite API. But when they used Mendeley's data monitor, they were able to actually narrow down to 6,230 results. These results were was accessible by the institution is because we use the technology to make sure that the data is enriched, it is linked, the metadata is linked with author IDs, with Scopus and ORCID IDs, as well as with institutional affiliation IDs. This enables you to enhance the data quality and thus give access to pure and curated data for your university available for you from across all the repositories in one place, so aggregated in one place for your further action. Now, how does this solution work? So we work with 1,700 plus generalist domain-specific repositories. We also work with your own institutional repositories. There are 20 plus million research data records. We collect these data sets that researchers have published in repositories outside your institutional data repository. We include a step where we eliminate duplicates, example, different versions of the same data sets. We enrich this data with author and institutional affiliations to the data sets, and thus we create the data monitor corpus, which enables institutions to monitor, reproduce, and reuse the data of their institutions. Now, how is the research data flow? So in terms of the various solutions that we have, so with our platform, you are able to do data search, which, and the biggest key factor of our data search is we use deep indexing in terms of all the data which is indexed in the platform. You have data repositories, so you're able to trace, you're able to secure your data, integrate your own local repositories, create your own data sets, tag it, manage it, publish your own data sets. We are able to provide you with a workspace where you are able to collaborate with other researchers to manage a common pool of data, add new data sets, own the data, and publish the data. Now, this kind of collaborative atmosphere is not provided to you with the open source platform that you are using. You also will have access to a dashboard, which will enable you to understand the application of the data that you're using, which will help you to understand, how this data has been used. So you are able to create an analysis from all the data that is being hosted on the platform. And most importantly, we have a data monitor, which is available for institutions to manage the process of hosting their own data sets, monitor the reproducibility of the data, and access those data. Now, the data monitor is a very, very powerful tool. Most institutions have access to data monitor. It's one of the 3 modules that we offer to institutions to do their research data management. Now, one of the key factors of data monitor is it is able to, you are able to research data organization, curation, and reporting. So you will be able to easily monitor compliance against your institution's research data management policy and funder mandates. It will help you to showcase your research data, so you have higher scores for grant application by promoting public research data output of your institutions. It will help you to improve your institutional's research data visibility, because all your data will be gathered in one platform, will be publicly available, and the visibility will increase. We provide you with API integration, which allows you to continue using your standard approval process, using your own institution's CRIS or institutional repository system. The data monitor comes with advanced data search capability so that you can compare and benchmark your research data output with other institutions. Now, quickly capturing the value of data monitor, you can organize, curate, and report on public research data. You can showcase public research data sets. You can integrate with your CRIS through an API, and you can perform advanced data search queries. So when it comes to research data management, what is it that we are offering? So within the offerings that we have, you are able to do data search across 20 plus million data sets, which are indexed from thousands of data repositories. We have a data repository which is being created, and this is following the FAIR data principles. You have a data manager which enables you to share your project data, integrate with external data sources, securely prepare data sets for publications. And finally, we have a data monitor tool to track data sets published by researchers, both within and outside the institutions. This helps you to facilitate compliance with funder mandates and enable reporting and showcasing of the data. What is FAIR guiding principles? So a very quick look at what is FAIR guiding principles. So when we talk about FAIR, it means your data needs to be findable, searchable, and appropriately tagged. It has to be accessible. That means it is open source, usable, interoperable formats. Interoperable means labeled with clearly defined vocabulary so that your data is able to connect with the research and the different elements of the research that you're doing. And finally, reusable. It has to have a license, it has to be of high quality, and it has to be unique. Now, when we look at the whole life cycle of research data, the most important part is that you need to design. So the research life cycle depends heavily on 2 data life cycles within a project. You need to execute and you need to publish. Now, when it comes to design, you need to find topics, you need to identify gaps, you need to plan and fund. When it comes to executing your research, you have to discover data, people, methods, and protocol. You have to prepare, produce, reuse, and benchmark your research. And then you have to collect, analyze, and visualize. So you're making your research more visually impactful. And then finally, you publish, which is you're storing or you're sharing or you're disseminating the information. Now, within this 3 data life cycle, what we wanted to show you is that how our solution is able to support you across all these 3 key or core elements of the research life cycle. When it comes to design, you have access to data search, which is the biggest platform in terms of the hosting of the content or availability of data in your hand. You're able to execute with the help of the co-sharing environment that we are producing, where you can create a project, you can invite other contributors, and then together you can work on the research data, you can improve the quality of the data, and then finally prepare the data to be published. And finally, with the data repository, you are allowed to publish the data, which then becomes part of the main content of the data and makes it accessible for a global audience. So it acts as a tool to help you to bring visibility to the work that you're doing. Now, when we provide you with all these solutions, it is very important to also share with you that how our platforms are interoperable. So within Elsevier's offering, we have a product known as Pure. Pure is a research information management system. Now, Data Monitor is integrated with Pure, which means that data sets from Mendeley Data can be automatically imported into Pure, which is Elsevier's research information management system. Now, thanks to our enrichment capabilities, the data records from third-party repositories can be imported into Pure as well. You can have additional links with projects, grants, equipments can be added as well. Because it's a research information management system, which enables you to import data around projects, research, grants, equipment. When you have your data sets in and you integrate the Mendeley data into Pure, you're able to build a relationship between your data and your research and connect it not only just with your research, but relevant projects, relevant grants, as well as equipments. Along with this, because of the integration with Pure, Pure has a reporting module which allows you to create curated reports around your research data, linking it with the relevant author, with the relevant subject field, the relevant department. Now, when you have these reports ready to use in your hand, your management can use these reports to create various different strategic decisions, as well as to develop deep insight into the research work that different departments are invested into. So that's why this integration is very important, because then you're able to maximize on the offering of both the platforms. So we will be starting to look into the screenshots of how the platform looks like. But before this, I will take a short break to see if there are any questions, and then we will go back and look, start our session from here. So we have, okay, so I do not see any questions here. I will look back and check with Kamal sir. Sir, do you think there are any questions or any understanding, more understanding needed in this first part of the session that we covered?
So despite basically you cover about the infrastructure that we need to set up in order to embark into RDM, isn't it, Priyanka?
Yes, sir. And what I shared is that what are these different capabilities that are there across research data management? Why research data management is important, what kind of architecture you need, and how you're being using it.
Okay, thanks. So you're going to proceed after this hands-on session or what?
So I will first share some screenshots, and we will start the hands-on session after another 20 minutes, sir, if that is all right.
Yeah. So just for your information, all this while in USM library, we do focusing also not really onto Mendeley Data, but we do have giving research support with regard to Mendeley as in order to perform the citation and help them in doing their citation, but not really into Mendeley Data. So I think it is quite new for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So yes, we have this is a request to all the participants. Please feel free to write your questions on the Q&A box, which is there, and please do not write on the chat any question. I see one question is there: how big is the hardware that we need to have to install in the excellent solution? So it's a cloud hosted solution, Rosalind ma'am. So you do not need to have any hardware for any installation. Sounds very clear. So okay, so I don't see any questions, so I will straight away go. So we'll spend another 20 minutes looking into the screenshots, and post that we will then go back and look into have a hands-on session on the platform. So this is how the Mendeley Data looks like. It has a free version available as well, and I'm sure your university probably uses it. There is a huge difference in the free version and the whole curated solution that we are offering around Mendeley Data. So this is where you will land on. You will have to create a account. You have to sign in. You can see that you have reference management, research network, data sets. You can create a data set here. You can search your data here. So when you're on the home page, once you use when you use the, one second, just help. When you do your search terms, so for example, the search here is on prostate cancer treatment. So there are 3 results of prostate cancer treatment which will come. It will show you what kind of files there are. It is coming from which repository. And once you click on the repository and you click on the details, you will be able to see all the files which are associated. So all these information will be in front of you and accessible for you to look into the details of the data which is being added. Other than that, you can create your own data set. So you can, add new data sets. So once you click on add new data sets after you have logged in, it will allow you to name. So you can create a title of the data set. You can add the contributors of the data. You can upload files. You can create a new folder. If there are many files and, you want to create different folders, you are able to do that. You will also have a DOI, the platform allows you to mint DOI. You have a cite this data set information. By default, you get a Creative Commons license by 4.0, but you are able to change it depending on the need. And in terms of storage available, it is 100 GB, which is much more than the free version, which is around 10 GB, which is allowed. These are the various different files you have uploaded, which allows you to upload all these different files. It will let you know how much of the storage is being used. Once you have uploaded the file, you have created your own data set, you can create an embargo period. You can let know before you publish, you can decide, how long you want to create this data set in a draft format, so that when it is in a draft format, you will be able to edit it, delete it. You can, send a preview to anyone you want, so that you can share it with other people in terms of how, after you have created your data set. Now, once you have done a publish, once you have clicked on the publish, that becomes permanent. However, if you would like to edit that data, what the system does, it creates different versions of the data. And the system will be able to store all the version. And it will tell you which version is 1, 2, 3, 4, and which is your latest version. So this gives you a very nice way for tracking your data, the changes that has happened to your data set. Along with it, we also have archiving capabilities. So we have data archiving and network services. So once you have all the data, it is automatically getting archived. So you can see after you have added the data, these are the different licenses which are available, and you can choose the license that is most suitable for the data that you have created. You also can categorize your data. So we have various different categories which are available in the platform, and you can choose from the drop-down menu to choose the category which is very specific and more aligned to the data that you're storing. You have optional to choose to create your, to add your institution's name. Now, as I told you, once you have all the files, and every version will have its own DOI as well. And you can see all the previous versions are listed here, and you can compare the version. It will also tell you which is the current version which is open, and it will have all the versions. So every time you edit your published data, a new version is created, which is stored in the system. Now, these are different versions which are shown. So this is a version which was published in 16 July, say, for example, 2016. It was version 1, and you can see the DOI has 4.1. And then in June 2017, there was a version 8 of the same data set with changes which has been uploaded, and you can see that the DOI is capturing 4.8. So there is a minting, DOI minting, which is happening at the back end for the system. We also allow you to have local S3 storage integration, so that the whole risk management is done in terms of not losing your data. Now that is about creating your data sets, allowing you to host the data. Now, when it comes to data manager, this is where you will be able to have access to a collaborative co-sharing space, right? So what happens is that you go to My Projects. When you click to My Projects, so when you click to My Projects, it actually allows you to add and create new projects. When we do the live, you will be able to see how you can add resources and create new projects and add contributors to it. So for example, you have already created a project, and you click on, and it gets saved in My Project section. When you click here, Data Manager, what it allows you to do is it allows you to collaborate with your other contributors with the data collaboration and workflow tool. It enables research groups to gather, organize, you can annotate and share data all in one place. So all of you can work together. It helps you to, as you can say, it can share data privately in your institution, group, or project. You can work within this co-sharing space without publishing the data. So it helps you to keep in touch with each other, know each other's node through Annotate. You can prepare your data for publishing. And we also provide you with open API, which is allowed. It is tailored to upload forms, automated workflows, and workflows to download, analyze, and re-upload data files. So the data manager helps researchers to move from raw files to data sets. So you have project data, you have project data sets, and this is where you have published data. Here you can see who are the contributors. When we do live, these will be more understandable for all of you. Now within this Mendeley Data Manager, you can also use analysis. You can upload different sections of your data, and you can categorize the name, and you can add these data from external sources. So for example, you are adding a data source. When you click on add project data source, it will allow you to have access to the project data from when you add these data sources, it will allow you to add data from external sources like Dropbox, Box, Google Drive, Azure, and other such data sources. So you can import data from these outside sources and then start working on your project. So you create a project, you add the data source, you share the data sets, and then finally, after all of you have worked on it, then you need to publish the data. So this is the first version of the data. So you can see that there are different contributors, so that it is saved in a data form, in a draft format. This is the reserved DOI for the data. You have created a license. This gives you description, pictures, how many of processed data is there. These are all the different files. This is a contributor. You can add more contributor by clicking on the plus sign. And you also allows you to keep notes. So there are 169 characters which is left. So that it allows you to write long notes which are associated with your data. So what is the main conclusion? Main conclusion is we all want to see more relevant data that is being shared and used. So, so it makes easier and more rewarding for researchers to do so. So this is an example of Lancet, an article. It's a very famous Elsevier journal. So this is an article which is published on Science Direct platform. And then this is the data which is being from this article, which is being captured here separately on the data repository. So it gives you details of the, when it is published, what version it is. So this two are linked here. So it gives a holistic image or holistic understanding of the work that is being done and being published. So that was about the data manager. So we saw data search, we saw data manager, and finally data monitor. A data monitor is a simple and easy to use and very convenient tool for universities. It helps you to achieve credibility, visibility, and integrity of key research outputs because it enables to monitor all the research data of your university. It helps you to track those data. Once all the data is here, you're able to maintain the visibility of events. You're able to improve adoption of data sharing tools by researchers, and you can communicate the value of data sharing to researchers during the research process. So when you have this dashboard of data monitor, it tells you the name of the author, the details of the author, article DOI. It captures all the details of the research data linked with this research article and gives you a dashboard and a full visibility of all the work that your university researchers are doing at one place. So this is a great tool for custodians of research data management in the universities to have a deeper insight into the university's work in managing research data across different departments and across different researchers. So you are able to, it is data monitor is both for inside and outside of your institution. You can run adoption email campaigns and keep track of research data. So you can customize emails and send to your researchers. You have a dashboard, so helps you to track the adoption. So you know that, how many of them has published data, how many of them are working on data, how many data are in a draft format. It also allows you to collect and edit metadata. It is linked with the API. You're able to monitor the progress. You're able to select data sharing options relevant for researchers. You have these kind of dashboard, which will give you a reporting as part of overall customer reporting dashboard. So it tells you that, okay, data, how many data sets are created and published, most viewed data sets, storage insights. So it tells you that, year on year or within, month on month, how many data sets have been created, published by the university across various different departments. So Mendeley Data, it's a modular cloud-based platform. It is designed for research institutions to manage the entire life cycle of research data. So from search to management, collaboration, and finally to host and publish the data using the repository. Now we have a lot of good testimonials. I'm not going to read all of them, but 85% of surveyed users are likely to recommend Mendeley Data, which means that they are using it, they are very satisfied, and adoption of these data management have helped them to systematically manage the research life cycle of the university in a most productive and efficient manner. With this, we'll quickly look at some customer use cases. So we're talking about doing research and then sharing research, researchers use cases and institutional use cases. So for researchers, you are able to find research data, you are able to connect with different data sources, you're able to manage data across different projects. And for institutional use cases, you get credit for sharing data. Librarians can help researchers curate their research data. Librarians preserve and share data, and then you are able to create a report around the data that is being hosted from your university, and you will able to create a showcasing environment for all the work that your researchers are doing. Now, most of the challenges that universities have, researchers are unable to create, they create an unknown but substantial amount of research data every year. So every researcher does that. A vast bulk of this data is stored and managed in locations that is not easily accessible and discoverable. Researchers want to be able to manage their data in methods that they control and make sense with their workflow and disciplinary expectation. That means they want to categorize their research data aligned to the discipline or the work that they are doing. Universities does not have enough people to hold everyone's hand in this. So you cannot possibly go to individual researchers, ask for their details, connect the dots, and then finally aggregate the data. So with all these challenges, the objective of Data Monitor is that it helps to shape the development of the software into a tool that you all can use to add another method of engagement with the faculty. So with this Data Monitor, you are able to have more engagement with faculty and researchers, providing them with the right step to accumulate, gather, and access their data. And you're also able to learn more about researcher data publishing habits. So you will also have more insight into how these research data are being managed and published by your university. Research data adoption is growing very fast. So this is an example of how research data, all publications and publication with data sets. So if you look at the blue line, these are publications year on year without capturing the data set, how it is, growing compared to how in the last decade, the requirement of publications with data set has grown, with a compound annual growth rate of 21%. So this tells you that globally, this is a most upcoming trend in terms of producing research, which is linked with the research data sets. So we looked at the value of research data management in Australia from 2014 to 2018, and we saw that whatever was the trend globally matched with the trend in Australia. Publication without data sets and publication with data sets. So this is 3% growth versus 38% growth for publications with data sets. Similar kind of experience even for the New Zealand market. Now, that's what is very important when researchers publish data is also for you to understand that how articles and research data are increasingly linked. So when you looked at articles with data sets, when we used our tool SciVal to do a benchmarking between articles with data sets, and this was done for University of Illinois, and we saw that publications which came, so this big circle is the publication of data sets with data sets, and this one is without the data sets, and this small is the number of publications with data sets. So when you look at the citation of publications with data sets are much more higher compared to publications without the data sets. And when you look at what are the main sources to find research data, is it professional network, is it data engine, is it repository? Our study has shown that people are looking for research data majorly in the literature, which means the research articles that you publish. So journals are the lighthouse to research data, because that is where most of the search happens to access data. So that's why the articles that you publish, it has a very high importance or impact in terms of creating research data as well as influencing the citation that is being gathered by the journal for individual articles hosted in that journal. Journals and repositories. So, the authors have their own pain points, in terms of where to deposit data. Not every institution has research data management tools. They are only good for, publication. Some don't have persistent identifiers. It is also important to understand the domain or the subject specific requirement of the journals, and how to associate your data towards it. And then funders also have, their own recommendation list, as well as their own mandates that you need to follow when you are trying to publish a paper with the data sets. So what does Mendeley Data do for journals? That is, we provide you with a data repository. Firstly, you are publishing fair data, so it is compliant with fair data policy. We enable authors to comply with funder mandates. You have links to data sets to associated articles. So within the platform, we allow you to capture associated or supplemental documents, connect it as a metadata with your data set, and then link these data sets to the associated article on Science Direct or other journal platform. It allows others to cite research. So we create the data set and allow you with links. So these data sets can further be cited. So this is a great way to evaluate the impact of your data sets. Readers can preview data files within their browser. And of course, you have a institutional version with extended features, as well as the free version, which I told you. Now, a very quick example, we will look into the data repository of University of Milano. When we developed a case study with them, we asked them what were the must-haves for your research data management system. And they said that, integrating external data sources to allow working on research projects like Google Drive, OneDrive for business, that was great. A long-term preservation that we provide with our S3 archive options. Also harvesting metadata of data sets from third-party repositories. We asked them what was the reaction from researchers. So researchers had a very positive reaction on uploading of data. They liked projects very much for shared data set editing, and were surprised to see almost 2,000 data set harvested without any effort. Because so much of data is available at one place, you are able to access global data source and you're able to harvest these data. And with this, what we will do is we'll quickly look at their platform. So this is the Universities of Milano's data repository. So you can see here, so you can find, so they have 2023 result. These are all the different data. You can see the filter here. It tells you what kind of data it is: tabular data, document, data set, videos, audio, all of them are categorized. Also the sources from where these data has been captured for the university, all the various sources. You can see Mendeley data, how many are from Dryad, how many are from Figshare. So all of these information is available. And then when you look at individual data, you can click on these data. When you click here, you get to see more details of the data, the contributors, the description. You are able to export this in various different formats. You can go to more details. And it gives you more details. So this Plumex gives you details about the citation, which is coming for these data. It also, Plumex also helps you to understand if there are any social media impact on the data set which is being captured. You can see the views, you can see number of downloads that has happened for this data. You can cite this data set. You can look at the various different versions of the data, name of the institution, the department, which categories does this data belong to, and then the license. And these are all the different files that you're able to download. And they have also included step to reproduce the data. And this is the details, right? So this was a quick example of their data repository for the university. What I would do now is I actually want to take you to our platform. So I'll stop sharing again to see if there are any questions. I see there are 13 Q&A. We'll take 5 to 10 minutes to finish this, and then we'll go live on the platform. Kamal sir, any comments from your side?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of questions right there. But from my own question, I just want to know for instance, for Elsevier, if you want to publish any article into journal under Elsevier, it is compulsory for them to publish the data set as well, together with their publication?
I think it is something which is related to individual journal policy. So I don't think there is a blanket statement that that applies to all the journals. So it will depend on individual journals, what kind of policy they have within Elsevier.
Okay, okay.
And unfortunately, because I do not come from that section, so I will not have a full visibility to that question.
Okay, it's okay.
What I wanted to what we did was we wanted to share with you that when you publish with the data set, the visibility is much more higher, citation is much more higher as compared to publications which are done without the data set. So that was what I had shared.
Yeah.
So there's a question. So quickly, I'll take questions here, and then we will move and show you the live platform. Is that all right, sir?
Yes, please, please.
So we have one first question is this solution the university has to subscribe to? This is completely, so this is an information sharing session. We will leave all the information with the library, and the universities can decide, which module as you saw that we have 3 modules. You can use data monitor, you can use data search, or the data repository. So it is completely dependent on the university's need, how they want to approach. What are key differences between Mendeley Data and other data repositories as Figshare, Zenodo, and others? So there is a huge difference in terms of how ours is not just repository as you had seen in the presentation. So Figshare is just it's a data repository. I don't think it has the capabilities of data monitor. It does not allow you to create and monitor your institutional profile the way we do it with Mendeley Data. Mendeley Data also comes with it's a cloud hosted solution which comes with 100 GB space. And in terms of the sources of data which is being captured on Mendeley Data, it is huge. So we are talking Mendeley Data is not just for institutions. It is a data repository where you have access to 20 millions of data coming across from all different repositories, including Figshare, Zenodo, and other repositories. Will the data we upload be accessible to the public? You have a choice. So when you publish the data, yes, it will be accessible to publish. But if you do not want them to be accessible to publish, you can create an embargo period, or you can save the data in a draft format. Are there any control on accessibility on work in progress that? I think both of the questions are related. So as I said, that once you publish the data, it becomes openly available and becomes part of our data content hosted on the platform. But you have a choice of not publishing and keeping it in a draft format, or creating an embargo period around your data. Are there any control on accessibility on work in progress that? Okay, let's say USM have a data repository. Are the researchers deposit research data into USM data repository or Mendeley Data, or both? Please advise. This is a question for the library, sir, I think. So I think they're asking that, if you have a data repository, do you have a data repository, and, will they, are the researchers depositing data in the repository?
So you want me to?
Yeah, I think this is a question for. Yes.
Yeah. Basically, we do have our own IR, print at USM, but as Priyanka explained earlier on, so we have certain incapabilities in terms of producing our own DOI and so on. So that's why one of the objective of today's discussion, we want to basically looking for option that we can embark into in order to enhance our RDM activities in the near future. So since RDM is one that going to be happen nearly in the near future, so we are looking for the best solution of it lah. So Mendeley Data is one of the solution that we are thinking right now. Other than that, we might be looking at other options as well. So in the future, we're going to come up with a very looking for a good policy about RDM at USM, and we will share with all the researchers in the near future. Thank you.
After we upload our data set, how will we know that our data set already published in Mendeley Data? Is there an email we will get? So yes, you will get a notification, and also as the data will have a tag, will have a tag which will let you know that the data has been published or not. So it's automatically associated with the data. Other than researchers himself can access the data, can a research head will be given authority to access. um, so as so every so everyone can create their own profile, manage their own data. You can work together in the research, the collaborative space. And once you have published it, anybody can access the data. It's not limited to. And if you want to create a limited option, you have to work with the draft of the data and then share the data with the selected people that you want to share. Do Mendeley Data have citation metrics for data sets? Yes, we do have that. How long this research data can be kept? So the research data is there, for as long as you want, and as long as you have subscription to the platform, you will be able to use it. Independent from the university, can we have individual account? No, we do not. Don't have individual account. This is a institutional product, which is offered to institution on annual subscription. If USM researchers upload their data set in Mendeley Data, can we search by affiliation our data set by USM? Absolutely. And this is what I will be showing you now on the platform. There are some questions here. We'll just take it. All the project data is stored privately. Can the webmaster from Elsevier still be able to see our project data? Mainly, so no, this will be associated only with your university, linked with your university, so we will not be accessing it. Does the free version of Mendeley Data allow DOI registration for user? The free version does not, it does not allow DOI minting. So just to let you know that. Once our subscription terminated from Mendeley Data, what about these stored data? The data is saved and stored and securely kept, and it will be given back to you. So not to worry on that. What was the reason behind the increased citation with Mendeley Data? Because we can publish data with data in brief along with journal article. Is this not help in citation? So when it comes to so this is something we can publish data with data in brief. I would like to know a little bit more on how you use data in brief. What kind of indexing are you doing? What kind of data are you capturing? And right now, whatever study I shown you was a study which was done with the citation, with the data set linked with the publication. We did not do any specific study where publications linked with data in brief. So I will not have enough facts to comment on this particular question. Does the free version of Mendeley Data is allowed DOI registration for user? So Kamal sir, you use the free version of Mendeley Data, right? In the library?
Yes, for now, free version.
So what I know is that it does not allow you DOI minting, but it does allow certain part of some version of it. Will you be able to share some information on this question?
Can I get again the question, please?
So I think the question is, does the free version of Mendeley Data allow DOI registration for users? So what my understanding is, it does not allow, the free version does not allow DOI minting. So I just wanted you to confirm on that.
I'm not really sure about that. I need
Yes.
to try myself.
Yeah. If I mean, according to my understanding, the free version does not allow you DOI minting, which is allowed on our platform. So let me quickly share my screen, and I will run some differences between the free version and the comparison between the free version and the paid version of Mendeley Data. So this is how the free version looks like. So Mendeley Data repository manager and monitor. So when it comes to the researcher edition, which is the free, you have 10 GB per data set. It gives you embargo date. It allows you to keep different versioning of your data. It also allows you private sharing link. What it does not allow you is you do not have DOI minting, you do not have analytics, you don't have custom metadata template, institutional administrator, or moderation workflows. It does not have a collaborative workspace where you can work and collaborative edit the data set. It does not have advanced search option. It is not integrated with Pure. So enrichment to locate existing data set in external repositories is not available. Institutional research data showcase page is not there, so you can't create institutional showcasing page. And of course it doesn't come with consulting and training, and it does not have integration with external data sources like the cloud, external data sources in the cloud or in the institutional space. I hope this gives you some idea. What I will do now is I will be quickly looking into Mendeley data itself, and then give you a live example of how it looks like. So let me share, and meanwhile continue to share your questions. So I have logged in here. So I've logged in here. So this is, your home page for Mendeley data. As you can see, because I have logged in, with my login ID, so I have access to Data Monitor as well. But these are all different modules. So depending on what your institution will subscribe to, you will have access to, Data Monitor, or you will only have access to the research data platform. So here you can see, you can create your data set here. So we will have find research data. So there are 28.3 million data sets. And you can see these are all linked with various open data repositories in the index. You can store your data sets here. What are the recently added data? You will have details of that what are the recently added data. You can create your own research data citable, so you can do that. It comes certified with core trust seal. So this is where funders mandates are complied. And then you can also share your express, your progress. And this is Mendeley data for institution is what the data monitor is all about. Now, when I click on search, say for example, I click on search here. So say for example, I use University Sense Malaysia when I do not use any tagging, and I just use the name of. So these are various data that I am able to gather from the university, right? Here you can see the data types, the source type, where is it coming from, how many of them are from article repositories, how many from data repositories, all the sources, Science Direct, Figshare, all the data sources are here. You can click on one of these data sets. You can see the name of the contributors. You can export this in APA, BibTeX, DataCite, or REST format. You can go to the source, which is the real article. So it will take you to the original article here. Okay. So when I go back, now what I do, I make my search more curated so that I get exact specific articles which are linked with University Sense Malaysia. So right now when I do a normal search, I'm getting 27,000 plus, but here there could be some articles which are not directly linked with your university. But when I use field specific search, so I have 5,521 results here. You can click on one of the articles once again and see the details. Other than that, when you go to my data, here you can create different projects. So you can create your own data set, or you can create new collection, or you can create new project. So for example, if you want to create new project, so I have one project which is created here. It's a test project which I created. When I click on this project, so I have, so I am the one of the members here. It's a test project, these are the data sources. So I can add, as I told you, I can add data from any of these external sources. there are no data sets. So you can, once you have uploaded the data, then you can, import your own data sets. Once you have done that, this will be in the group. And then finally, when you, after you have worked on your data, you have edited it, annotated it, that's when you make the data public, right? So when you click on members here, so you can see that you can add more members. If you want, you can remove members as well. So if you want to remove, you can remove member. You can add more members. You can search them, from their email address. And you can choose, once you have more members, you can give them different assignment of roles that you want to manage the work, to contribute in your research projects, and all of you can work together and have access to this data and, co-sharing space. When we go back to find research data now, say for example, I can use advanced search help, where you can use various different fields to do your, search. So, there's a lot of search options which are available. So if you expand it, you will see that you can search based on author ID, and these author ID includes Scopus ID, PubMed ID, and ORCID ID. You can search based on DOI, keywords, subject area. So you can use these advanced search options to identify and, search and uh, explore data in the specific field. You can create a new data set. So when you click on create data set, you can name any of the data sets. Say for example, I write test, I create a data set here. After you have created a data set, then it opens up, it allows you to add, so you can add contributors of the data set. You can give a description of your data. You can create a folder, or you can just keep uploading files. Okay, you can use drag and drop option to add files to the, you can restrict the access. So when your data set is published, only the metadata will be visible while the files will be hidden. So you have option to do that. Researchers will be able to request access to your files, and you can decide whether to share files with specific requesters. You can write the name of your institution. You can department, you want to decide departments, you can do that. You can categorize your research, so whether it is which topic is it, you can choose from the drop down various topics that you have. Steps to reproduce, so this is also another thing that you can populate. You can, any metadata collected, you can add these, you can change the license, you can nature of the data, you can type these details, you can add references. After you have done, you can create a version 1, which means you're previewing it, and you set an embargo date. So you do not publish. Once you publish, that's when it becomes accessible for everyone. So you have a choice to preview. Once you have filled up all the details, you can share it with others. So this is how you can cite this data set. So it helps you to give you the citation details. And then this is the storage details. This is how you create your own data set and collection. And once you have created it, it will actually be there in your My Data folder. So in your My Data folder, you can see what all you have created. You can look at collections if you have created, projects you have created. So this is very simple, the data repository of accessing data, creating data, storing your data, managing your data. And then we have Data Monitor. Data Monitor is where you have all the data from your institution which is gathered. So you can choose to, you can exclude data manually, you can exclude automatically, you can add data pending. So this is depending on the workflow that you have created, which is pending additions, pending exclusions. So you can do that at the back end as an administrator. You can look at published anytime, published in 3 months, 7 months. You can, when the data was added to your institution. You can see when your institutional data is added from which repository, and you can also get to see what kind of data is being added. Is it a data set, tabular data, document? So this gives you a list of all that you want to keep. This is how it is available for you. You can export all of it in a CSV or an XLS format for your future reference. You can click on any one of them. You can look at the details of when it is published. If you want to view the data set, you can view the data set here. So you can see how the data set has appeared. So yes, so this is a very simple presentation and demo. I think we are close to finishing. So I've stopped sharing my screen now, and I would like to know if there are any questions. I will also share with you my email address so that if if there are any questions that comes to your mind later, if you can't ask now, you can always email to me, and I'll be more than happy to take those questions and reply back to you. So Kamal sir, any points from your side, and after that we can actually look into the if there are any new questions. So I will just be sharing my screen for a second so that my email address is given for everyone. Yeah, so this is my email address. Please feel free to connect with me if there are any questions that remains unanswered after this session. I'll be very happy to take those questions and inform you on email about it. So Kamal sir, anything from your side?
For now, I have no question. So you want to proceed, please?
Yeah, so I will go into the question now. So here you upload the data, can we search by affiliation? So I think there are no new questions. Which Asian university already subscribed the Mendeley Data Edition? So we do have universities in China, we have university in Taiwan. I can give you the names of those university, pass it on to you in detail about the names of the university. We do have university in Australia, New Zealand, who are using data Mendeley Data Services and Data Monitor. Anything else that you want me to show them, sir? From my side, I think I have been able to cover all that we had included in the agenda. So is there anything that you feel that I can cover right now?
I think for now, you have covered everything that we need to know about the platform and also RDM. So
Yes. So if there is, if there is a request for a trial, you can email me, sir, and I will see if we can offer a trial for your institute.
yeah,
So that would be great.
yeah, I'm looking forward for that because based on the question that the participant asked today, also I think they are more than happy to have a real experience dealing with the platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is will be the great initiative. So
Yes.
we will discuss later about that.
So I have seen one hand raised by Mazlita Zainal Abidin. I will request if you can, whatever question if you have, if you can just type it on the Q&A box, inside the Q&A box. I'll be more than happy to take your question. If there anything which remains unexplained, please let us know. And I'll be in touch with Kamal sir to extend a trial to all of you so that you all can have the experience of the platform that we just shared, maximize on the whole experience of having access to such a huge content of data curated and presented in our platform. So yeah, please help us to do that. And Sonam, do we have any surveys or anything that we will do after this session?
Yes, so we'll send a link for the survey from Zoom itself.
Okay, great.
Just a basic survey to get an understanding of how we can do better trainings and what training is required. A very, very simple, I think it will be barely 2 minute survey.
Yes, so I will like to request all of you to please participate in that survey. Help us to know, how more can we do, what all can we share, so that the experience is good for all of you. And yeah, so that's it for us from now. And if there are no more questions, I think we will be ending the session soon. So Kamal sir, do you want to end the session with any any feedback or any
Yeah.
thought? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Priyanka, for the presentation. Also, thank you very much to Sonam for joining us as well. So I think this session is very helpful in open up our mind and understanding about one of the options that we can consider with regard to managing our research data. Meanwhile, I think for now, yeah, hopefully we can get the trial version of the Mendeley data so that we can give a try ourselves in order to explore the platform. And hopefully our researchers also can grab the opportunity to explore. And please share your opinion and experiences with us at the library through, you can simply email us at rdm@usm.my, so that we're going to see how we can further explore about this initiative. And for us in the library, frankly speaking, it is quite new to us, and we are in the process of developing our knowledge and capabilities in dealing with RDM. So basically, we do have a few plans in the near future to organize other activities like this to enhance our understanding. So I think thank you very much also for all USM researchers for joining us and supporting our activity. So any idea, do not hesitate to communicate with us. So we will be more than happy to communicate later about this issue. And we will also upload the recorded version into our library YouTube channel for future reference. So I think thank you very much to all of you. See you next time. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah. Hope to be in touch soon. Bye. Have a good day ahead.